Welcome back to part 6 of the 2024 Textured Sampler Crochet Along. This is running concurrently with the Knit Along, which is the same end product but totally done different. This is the last section, so I only have to say this one more time. You can find links to everything you need in the description box, including the free version of the pattern as well as the complete pattern on my Etsy. The free version is on my blog. The blog is phoenixgatecrafts.com. The Etsy shop is etsy.com/shop/phoenixgatecrafts. And if you would like any help, support, or community with this, I have a group called Phoenix Gate Crafts Group on Facebook. So let's get started. We are so close to being done. Look at what we've got so far and how everything is kind of color distorted. This is teal, just to let you know. Nothing is showing up quite right. Except maybe this light blue. So go ahead and go into any corner. This is the last time we have to do this start around. I always like to start with a slip knot because even if the tail comes out, the knot won't. All right, go into any of the corners. Pull up a loop. This one, unfortunately, is going to have to be a double crochet. Or I should say this round, unfortunately, should be a double crochet. So I'm going to chain one just to make sure that everything is kind of on there. And then I'm going to pull up and do a standing double crochet. And then another double crochet. And then we're going to do back post double crochets, which you should be pretty dang familiar with. So go ahead, do back post double crochets all the way across, and then 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets with a half double crochet corner at the very last corner to connect everything up. I will meet you back after that. All right, so we're in the corner and we're going to chain 1 and we're going to do a single crochet round, which is a little bit different than what we've done previously. We're going to single crochet 1 in the corner, and then we're going to single crochet in every stitch. So, I mean, you know how to do this. We've done it before, and it's just a normal single crochet. Now, when you get to the corner, what you're going to do is 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet. So I will meet you down at the other corner to show you that, since it is a little different. And now I've reached the corner, and we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, and then we're going to continue with the single crochets until we get around to the end. Now, something to be aware of: when you get to a corner, you will see that you have 2 stitches here, and the way you find the chain 1 space is you will have to kind of pull them apart. You find the 2 V's, like here's a V and here's a V, and you pull them apart, and I know it looks like you found the space, but this is actually the little triangle that makes up the left hand single crochet. So it's actually that little space right there. So be aware of that on the next round. I'm telling you now in case I forget to tell you then. So continue with single crochets, and it's 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet in the corner. Welcome back. We are at the end of the round, and we're going to do, just like when we do a half double crochet corner, we're going to do it with a single crochet though. So we pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and we have a tiny little hole. This pattern is a 2-round repeat, and this single crochet round is the first round. Now I'm going to do the second round with you. Standing double crochet, and another double crochet, and another double crochet, but this one is in that first single crochet. And now we're going to do a treble crochet. So we wrap twice, but we're doing a front post stitch, but we're not doing it into one of these cute little single crochets. We're doing it a row down around this double crochet. One, two, three. Then, so if you look behind, you can see where the double crochet before was coming out of this stitch. We're going to skip this one because that is actually where the treble crochet would originally have gone. And then we're going to do a double crochet in the next stitch. So now we're going to do a treble crochet, but in the next, not in the next double crochet, because that is where this double crochet is coming out. We're going to skip a double crochet from this treble crochet. So it goes into this one, see? So we've got this one, not that one, then that one. We're going to go from front to back, basically pulling up behind that stitch, pulling up a loop, and then yarning over and chaining 2 until we're done. And that's all we're doing. Whoops. We alternate a double crochet in the next stitch. You can also kind of tell because it's the next one. And then a treble crochet 2 rows below. And then a double crochet. So this one really climbs a lot. And then a double crochet. Sorry, did I say double crochet? I meant treble crochet. Double crochet. Front post treble crochet. And you're going to do this all the way across, and you're going to end in the last stitch with a double crochet. You should have a double crochet going, or you should have a treble crochet at the beginning and the end, going down to the first stitch of the double crochet row. So go ahead and do that across. I'll meet you in the next corner. All right, I made it to the corner, and we have this lovely stitch. Now, you should end with the final treble crochet being in the very last stitch. You know, we had that first one on the other end. Now we have the last one right here. And we're going to do a double crochet in this single crochet, and we're going to have our standard corner. Now remember how I was talking about trying to find that chain 1 space? This is where we have to do that. It's right after that first stitch in the corner. It's right after that, and in there it will fit. We're going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 double crochets. Now we've got that 1 single crochet right there. And what can happen, because this is a little bit crunched, is this little lip that we typically go into, this little triangle, it can disappear. If that happens, you just do 1 more in this hole. But we'll just do that one. And now we are ready to do our first treble crochet around this first double crochet. So treble crochet and then double crochet. Now something can happen and you could just be off on your stitch count, which is a fairly common occurrence. So if that happens, just do a double crochet 2 together on those last 2 stitches. It's not that big of a deal. It'll put you into the correct stitch count for the next one. And you'll still have this nice forward and back texture here. So keep on doing this all the way around. We'll do our half double crochet corner to end the round, and I'll meet you back for the next round. All right, I did a half double crochet corner. If you're doing a short version, you could completely just end it right here. However, this is the point where you want to get this piece to size. So you can repeat the single crochet row and the treble crochet round as many times as you need to get the size that you want. Mine is a bit small because, like I mentioned in the beginning video, the intro, I done messed up. I originally based this pattern on some DK weight yarn that wound up a bit small, and it's not a big deal, it's short sleeved. I didn't realize, because I'm smart this way, that when you do a thicker yarn, a heavier weight yarn, your yardage is shorter. So it technically, in terms of patterns and rounds, doesn't go as far. So that's why I've been doing shorter versions of most of these sections. But I want this to fit from elbow to elbow. That is what it is designed to fit. So if you were to hold this up against your body, you want it with your arms spread out to fit between your elbows. Also, I want to make sure you know that stuff just kind of happens. I'm not perfect. This is not going perfectly for me. And that is okay. It's making me think a little outside the box, and it does help me to help you figure out how to fix things if things go wrong. And, I know you've noticed that not everything has gone correctly in this. In fact, I don't have enough yarn to do a second round of the treble crochet. In fact, I am going ahead and I am doing a single crochet round while I talk here. You know what? It's okay when things go wrong, because the way we solve problems is part of what makes this an art. And I think that's the most important thing. And so that makes me think, what do you do if your piece isn't long enough? If something happened, you didn't get enough yarn, you decided to shorten a section that's affected how long everything is and you're just running out, or you decide you don't want that many rounds of this color. Well, we can change colors. Any section, there are places that you could change colors if you wanted to. But this section in particular, I think might benefit from changing colors, because this texture creates a really cool effect if you change midway through. The others, sort of. This section, probably not, because this section's color would just, cut the diagonalness of this stitch. But this one could look cool with different colors, I guess. This one, depending on how you did it. I guess it's possible. But this one, if you create but this section, if you change colors midway through, will have a pretty neat fanged effect. And in fact, that's what I'm going to do. I just went ahead and got some more yarn in a neutral because I kind of want a border. I want these colors to pop a little bit extra, so I got black. And I'm going to show you what happens when we change color, but I also want to let you know what it's going to look like when you continue these rounds, because the treble crochets do not line up. And that is intentional. So I'm going to continue my single crochet round all the way around. If you choose to change colors for whatever reason, do not change on a single crochet round. You want to change on the treble crochet round. But remember, according to the original pattern, you're not supposed to change colors here. I am doing this because I'm a math tutor, but you'd never know based on how well I do math. Anyway, I will see you at the end of this single crochet round, at which point you can change colors or continue in your originally chosen colors as you decide. Alright, so I have finished the next single crochet row, and I have officially run out of yarn. I had this much left. Second time in this project, I won Yarn Chicken. So I have officially won Yarn Chicken twice and lost it once. So I'm going to find the corner, which again, a bit tricky, but with a little bit of force, we can do anything. And I'm going to do another treble crochet round. So 2 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet in that 1 single crochet, and now we're doing our texture pattern again. And this time, because I'm not doing a whole bunch of back post stitches, I can actually work over my tail. But here's the thing, we don't go over every single stitch, right? So we're going to do our treble crochet now, our first treble crochet, and we're going back to the every other treble crochet and every other double crochet. And that treble crochet is a front post treble, and we go into this first stitch. So just do a normal front post and do a normal treble, and then we look behind. We can see a little bit more easily this time that it's coming out of this stitch. We're going to skip that one and we're going to work into that one. But this is a double. And now we've got our nice every other one set up. And then we're going to do a treble. And we're going to skip one and do a treble. And you will now notice something that I'm sure is going to get confirmed on this one. Our next treble isn't going to go into this treble. It's going to go into this double crochet. This looks really cool in one color as well, just so as you know. But basically on the top of the double crochet, we're going to do a treble, and on top of the treble crochet, we're going to do a double. And we're going to do that across. Remember to keep everything in the camera frame. And this is why this is actually a really cool one to kind of switch colors if you run out like I did. It creates little teeth. And when you see it from a distance, it's going to look really cool at the end. So if you do wind up switching, switch on the treble crochet round, not the single crochet round. And we're going to keep doing it. So the pattern says to do the single crochet round and double crochet round alternating, a grand total of twice, finishing with a treble crochet round, and then you can fasten off. I'm going to finish this and get this to the size that I want for my piece, because you can just keep going as long or as short as you want. Doesn't matter. I'll see you once I've finished. Don't finish until you see how to size it, which I will show you next. Hi, I'm doing the voiceover now, so sorry for the difference in mic quality, but this is my completed project. So measuring this by yourself can be a little bit tricky. What I do is I just shove it over my shoulders and get it into the crooks of my elbows, and I pull it out. This one is still a bit small. Ultimately, you do want it to easily come to your elbows. It does stretch a bit, and if you're going to block it, this would be the point to block it. But ultimately, you do want it to where your elbows are kind of a 90 degrees. Uh, if you want, you can make it longer, shorter, the same thing we've been saying this entire time. And just get it to that point where you feel comfortable with it. There is some bending that happens. That last row does like to curl a little bit. But what you're going to do once you get the size you like is you're going to take the corners that are right next to each other and fold your piece in half. This is completely optional. We are making a shrug, though. You don't have to do this. This is just if you're going to make the shrug. But fold it in half. Don't drop it like I did. And that way you know where to start, because you're going to start sewing from the corner to the folded edge down the side. You want to make sure that it's a good size. I say to leave about 9 inches, but you want to be able to stick your arm comfortably through it. And you're going to start from it's your right hand to the left hand, and you're going to put a stitch marker to mark where you are going to stop sewing. So go do that. So I hope you have finished the crocheting part of our shrug or blanket. Now, if you want this to remain a blanket, then congratulations, you're done. That's it. It's all she wrote. Enjoy your blanket and have fun. For the rest of us who want the shrug, this leaves us with how do we actually do the sewing up. I, of course, did my final rounds in black, and that is basically impossible to see on camera, any details on what I'm doing. So I made little swatches of the last section. And what we're going to do here is we're going to pretend that this is the last round and it's our two sides together. So basically we're going to fold everything and we're going to go on the outside edges toward the folded edge, which I already tried to show you. Had to get these orientated correctly. So we're going to pretend. Now the first thing is you're going to actually start this in the chain 2 corner. So we're going to pretend that this is a chain 2 corner right here. You're going to start in the last stitch, the second stitch of the chain 2 corner. So the stitch we're doing is called the mattress stitch. And I find it really easy because you can also weave in one of your tails while you do it. Now, we're going to pretend this is our chain 2. And I always start, I think of it in terms of the front piece and the back piece. Whenever you do mattress stitch, you always have your front side. So the side everybody's going to see is always going to be on the outside on both sides. The inside is going to be on the inside. So what you do is in this final stitch right here is you go under 2 loops. And you pull through, but you don't pull through all the way because this is not where we have the knot. But leave a couple of inches of tail. And then on the other side, see, that's our imaginary chain 2 space. Oh, and I should specify. You go from outside to inside for every single stitch. So on our other imaginary chain 2 space, we're going to go outside to inside and we're going to pull, but don't pull too tight. In fact, it really helps to hold your tail. And then we're going to go back to where we started. See where this one is coming out? We're going to go back in, and this is where we're going to pull tight. And now we're going to go out to in underneath every single stitch. Now, somehow, this always seems to happen. This comes over here. And you lay it right over here because here's what's going to happen. This is going over it and it's going to lock it in. Like that. And then you go to the next one and out to in and pull. And then under the next stitch, out to in, just making sure to trap your yarn. And by the way, if you're doing this, don't use a contrasting yarn the way I am. It's supposed to be invisible, but it's not perfectly invisible. Also, don't kick your tripod. But Usually you use the same yarn that kind of matches the one you're doing. I'm using a contrasting yarn so you can see what the heck I'm doing. And then you go out to in, and you do this for every stitch. Out to in. Oh. And now if you ever wonder if you've already done a stitch, you can look and find that little thing. It's a little hard to see when you have the same color yarn, but you move on to the next one. Out to in, out to in, out to in. Better out than in, right? No, we want it in. Out to in. Oops, don't get it caught. And eventually you get to a point where the magic happens. Give it a tug. This will wind up straight. That's why it doesn't really matter as long as you've got like enough yarn to go 1.5 times to where you're going. And then you can just pick it up and continue. Whoop. Whoop. Whoops, don't go under. Always go over. And then you don't want to go too long without doing a pull, because you can go too long and it doesn't get oomph to it. Anyway, eventually you will get to a point where you want to end. Now, I already had you measure, and you're going to go to your stitch marker for where you want your armhole to be. I think this is far enough. No, you know what? I'm going to go a little bit more. But you want to go until the point where you decide you need to stop sewing. At least 4 inches. I'd recommend at least leaving a 9-inch armhole. More if you are like me and want something a bit looser. All right, I think this is good. Then one last pull. And then what we're going to do, because we finished on this stitch, we're going to go basically through both and then through both, because we want this little loop on top. Pull tight, and then I like to do knots, so do a little knot where you put your yarn under the little loop you just created. Go into this big old loop and pull it tight. And then here's the magic that happens. You give it a pull, and when you can't see black yarn, it looks virtually invisible. Except for this little knot, which you actually pull to the back. Give it a little tug. And then the way you weave in your ends is just kind of how you normally do. You go under your loops, but you also go through the fabric on the join area, a little bit of all of them. And you just weave in, because you're not in a contrasting color. And you go 3 directions. 1, and we'll do here. 2. Don't pull it too tight. Make sure to pull it out. And then, let's see. Three. And now you can cut it close. and you're done. Do that on both sides, starting from your corner going up toward your fold on the sides. And now you're done. Thank you so much for joining me on this little adventure, and happy crafting!